What's going on, dudes and dudettes? So not much real news to talk about. Only was able to find a couple things past couple of days since the last video. But I did say that I was going to do an update on my fantasy football team and who I did have on there and kind of like the past history of how I've been graded and what this grade was officially. So obviously start off with my quarterback, Trevor Lawrence. Trying to trust him this year, so we'll see what happens. Wide receiver Chris Olave from the Saints looking like a pretty good sophomore year coming up. Jalen Waddle, another really talented wide receiver from Miami, the second string there, so looking good there. My first pick was running back Austin Ekeler, obviously from the Chargers. First time I've ever had him, so we'll see how this goes. Tony Pollard is a guy I got in the next round, so definitely very excited about that. He could have gone in the first. Starting tight end is TJ Hawkinson, who just got one of the biggest contracts for a tight end by the Minnesota Vikings, so looking forward to seeing what he could put out. My flexes are James Conner, the running back from Arizona, who's on a crappy team, but he is pretty much their best player. And at this time I took this screenshot, I had Raheem Mostert, the Miami running back, who obviously is going to be in line for these first couple of weeks of a lot of good production because a lot of those other guys around him are hurts and on the mend or even on IR, so definitely taking a shot at him in this first half of the year. It's not how you start and what team you draft, it's how you finish. So I'm pretty sure most of these, pretty much half or at least a good chunk of these guys aren't going to be on the team at the end, which is a normal case if you're a good fantasy football player. Excuse me, always working the waiver wire and seeing who else is available, which I did end up doing with one of my bench guys already. But yes, to go off with the kicker, ended up going with Jake Elliott because obviously he's going to be part of a top offense in the Philadelphia Eagles, so obviously get some easy points with him. As long as he averages 10 points, I'm good. And then my starting defense is the Baltimore Ravens. At the time, I usually wait for kickers and defense at the end, but we had a couple extra rounds this year and ended up waiting. I got them a little bit earlier than my last two picks that I like to wait for my kicker and defense, and got some pretty good people, I believe, to help me out throughout the whole year, in my opinion. So there are other teams out there that have good matchups weekly, but we'll just have to wait and see if those are the good matchups. If Arizona is that bad, or Houston and Carolina are that bad, even Atlanta. So you might have to get those defenses that week to be able to start against them. But yes, going off with my bench, have it going with wide receiver Michael Pittman Jr., not only from USC, but with the Colts right now. George Pickens, another second-year receiver I'm counting on from the Steelers. A tight end from the Steelers as well, Pat Freiermuth, their starter. So looking to have him as a nice bench guy. Brian Robinson, the running back, second-year running back for the Washington Commanders. Geno Smith, the backup quarterback. At least you don't go with backup quarterbacks, but decided to have so many spots, so might as well just go with somebody. I did have Thielen when I took this screenshot, but switched him out for Van Jefferson, who obviously looks like he's going to be the number one or at least number two target in that offense, with Cooper Kupp still on the mend and maybe going to the IR for the first couple of weeks. Have the running back Tyler Algier, who was a starter last year, but now he's behind the top, pretty much one of the top guys in fantasy football this year, Bijan Robinson. So if something happens to him, then obviously I have one of the better players late in the draft. And then the running back, the rookie from Miami, is Devon Achane, who I think will eventually end up playing a lot, even though he is a rookie, but he is one of the faster guys at that position on the team. And yes, he is already dealing with a shoulder injury, but he does look like he is close to being 100% healthy soon. So even if Mostert doesn't end up working out and then it's Achane to start off, then I still have him as a backup. Either way, I like to go with at least one or two rookies every year, and this is definitely my, at least dart throw. He was definitely the very last pick of the draft, so we'll see what happens with him in his near future and the start of his season. But when it comes to grades, yeah, the grades are pretty crazy. The last 5 years, I had a C+, C+, a B, which is the only good one, a C, a D+, and a C as well. And then even with this draft, I had a C+. So like I said, it's not how you start in this Yahoo AI or whatever that determines what your future of your team is going to look like for the season. Never really ends up being that, because you always end up, like I said, adding players here and there through the waiver wire, so your team is going to look different. You obviously get some other stars off that place anyways. So like I said, I always end up usually in the playoffs, whether I win fantasy football or not, the year doesn't matter. I don't think, as long as you make it the last 4 teams in the playoffs, I think that's still a good thing. You can still fight for 3rd place too as well, but usually finishing at times 1st, 2nd, or 3rd, and even 4th sometimes as well. Sometimes it's just not your year, but as long as you make it in those 4, which I usually do, then I'm happy about that, and that's pretty much where you got to strive for. So yeah, thanks for watching, people. Like and subscribe, comment down below, let me know what y'all think. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.